Welcome to another session of our online lectures, and today we'll be looking at cytology, which we describe as the study of cells. Of course, for life to exist, we need to take a look at the words of a scientist by name Rudolf von Virchow. And these words were written in Latin, and it's termed omnicellular or cellular, implying that every cell comes from already existing cell. So today we shall be describing cytology, which is the study of cell. Cytology comes from two words, cyto and logos. Cyto means cells, while logos means life. So if you ever want to live, then you must take note of yourself. In fact, studies have shown to us that an organism that possesses just a cell, that as small as a unicellular organism, can possess life. So today we'll be discussing cytology. I'll be discussing it under the following headings. One, we're looking at the definition of cytology. Then, if we have defined cytology as the study of cell, we're looking at what is the cell? What is the historical overview of a cell? How does cell come to be? Then we'll also describe the cell theory, the description of the cell theory, then the animal cell, then the components. What are the components of the animal cells? Then from there we shall be looking at the components of the animal cells have been divided into three. We have the cell membrane, we have the cytoplasm, and of course we have the nucleus. Many literatures or many students tend to make a mistake of relating cytoplasm to cytosol. Well, the actual thing is cytoplasm and cytosol are quite different. Cytoplasm is not the same as a cytosol. A cytoplasm is different from a cytosol. When a cytosol refers to the solid fraction of the cell, the cytoplasm refers to the liquid fraction of the cell. So there is the cytosolic fraction of the cell, while there's also the cytoplasmic fraction of the cell. So, definition of cytology. So what is cytology? I'm starting with that. Cytology can be defined as the study of cells. The study of cells. Just the way in biology we have different logos, because the word logos means to study. We have cytology, we have histology, we have embryology, we have genealogy, we have andrology, we have epidemiology, we have gynecology, we have andragogy. All these different types of logies refers to the study of different things. For example, entomology, that is the study of text. We have ornithology, that is the study of birds. We have aquology, that is the study of fish. We have geology, that is the study of rocks. So cytology is the study of cell. Now, what is cell? A cell can be defined as the basic, structural, and functional unit of life. A cell can be defined as the basic, structural, and functional unit of life that is capable of independent existence. A cell can be defined as the basic, structural, and functional unit of life that is capable of independent existence and from which other cells arise. I repeat, a cell can be defined as the basic, structural, and functional unit of life that is capable of independent existence and from which other cells arise. So let's look at the key word in the definition of cell. We say cell is basic. We say that the cell is structural, meaning that the cell has a structure. We say that the cell is functional, telling us that the cell has its function. Unit of life that is capable of independent existence. and from which other cells arise. From which other cells arise. Arising of other cells. So, cell is the basic. What does it mean to say that cell is the basic unit of life? What we are saying is that the simplest unit of life is the cell. Cell is the simplest unit of life. Everything we refer to as life starts from the unit of cell. So if we look at the organization of life, let's take a look at the organization of life. When we look at the organization of life, we can begin to understand this. That we start from the concept of atoms, which unite to give us, a collection of atoms unite to give us molecules. While a group of molecules combine together to give us macromolecules. Then macromolecules will unite to give us organelles, which collection of organelles gives us cells. A group of cells performing the same function gives us tissues. A collection of tissues that are performing the same function in association with their space will give us organs. Where organs combine to give us systems. Now, if we look at this organization of life, starting from atoms to organelles, we can be describing non-living. These are non-living units of life. Although they are essential for life, but life can be said not to have started. So this unit is non-living. While when we begin from the cells to the tissues to the organs and the system, this becomes living. So we can say the very point where life starts is from cell. So life begins with cell. Life begins with cell. So that is why Rudolf von Virchow said, omnicellular or cellular, or in the words of the proponents of cell theory, they said every unit of life is based on cell. That is, cell is, like I said, cell is the word basic, the simplest unit of life. Structural cells is made up of structures. When we look at the animal cell, there's a way the animal cells look like. When we look at the plant cell, there's a way the plant cell look like. The animal cell, for example, has a shape similar to this, while the plant cell has a shape more like this. So the cell has a structure. Then the cell has its function. Of course, one of the functions of cell is to allow for life. But how do they sustain life? The sustenance of life by the cell is actually dependent on how they aggregate. For example, cells could unite to form the kidney cells. The cells of the kidney, we refer to them as nephrocytes, or the nephrons. Yes, the nephrons. These are the basic units of the kidney. So the units of the kidney are to allow for excretion. We also have hepatocytes. Hepatocytes are liver cells. What do they allow? They allow metabolism. We could have cells of the eye. We could have cells of the nose. We could have cells of the stomach. We could have cells of the intestine. We call them enterocytes. So the type of cells we have will determine the type of functions that they possess. So cells come together collectively in order to allow life to occur. So having illustrated that, remember, a cell can be defined as the basic, structural, and functional unit of life that is capable of independent existence and from which other cells arise. So we have defined cytology as the study of cells. We have defined cells as basic, structural, functional units of life, and from that is capable of independent existence. That word is very essential. The use of the word independent existence means that cells can exist on their own. For example, an amoeba, although it consists of just a single cell, can perform all the functions of life. For example, you could look at other unicellular organisms. They can perform movements, reproduction, nutrition, irritability, growth, excretion, and of course reproduction. That is because they possess what? Cell. So where life begins is cell. A nucleus is needed for life, but it is not capable of independent existence. So that's illustrated definition of cytology. We've described cell. We now look at cell theory. Now, the cell theory was proposed. The cell theory was proposed by two scientists. Of course, before I go to this theory of cell, I need to look at some historical overview of the cell. The study of cytology began with the father of cell. His name is Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke is described as the father of cytology. He was the first person to describe the cell, and he described them as rooms. So the cells were described as little rooms, because when you observe the onion back of cells, you realize that the structures were synonymous to that of rooms. So they were divided into compartments. So Robert Hooke in 1665 was the first person to describe the concept of cell. Then, another contributor to the discovery, to the development of cell is Antoine van Leeuwenhoek. With his crude, he discovered microbes. So, some literature described Antoine van Leeuwenhoek as the father of microbiology. So there are a lot of other scientists who worked on bringing to bear the concept of cell. However, the cell theory is credited to the work of two scientists. We have Matthias Schleiden and we have Theodor Schwann. Two main scientists contributed to the development of the cell theory. One, Matthias Schleiden and Theodor Schwann. Both of them, one in 1838, the other one in 1839. This one worked, Matthias Schleiden worked on plant cells, while Theodor Schwann worked on animal cells. So these two scientists came together to give us a concrete set of theories that can help us to understand the way cells tend to behave, or the characteristic of cells. Number one, postulates of the cell theory says that all living organisms are made up of cells. All living organisms are made up of cells. Whether the living organisms are unicellular or the living organisms are multicellular, all living organisms are made up of cells. That is one. Then number two, we said there is no life. They also said there is no life apart from the life of cell. There is no life apart from the life of cell. So if an organism does not possess cell, then that organism is not living. Then, they also said, living cells can either be unicellular, that is, they are made up of a single cell, or they are multicellular. That means they are made up of many cells. They are made up of many cells. Then, they also said that there is no life. We've said there is no life apart from the life of cell. Finally, we also understand that all living cells arise from pre-existing cells, and that cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. So, five postulates of the cell theory. Number one, all living organisms are made up of cells. Every organism that is living must comprise of cells. Then, there's no life apart from the life of cell. Living cells can either be unicellular or they are multicellular. All living cells arise from pre-existing cell. The cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. I believe that you've understood the concept of what a cell is. You've understood what cytology is. You've understood what cytology is. You've understood that the concept of cell theory and the major role that Robert Hooke and Antoine van Leeuwenhoek made in the discovery and development of the cell theory, and the role of people like Martin Schleider, Theodor Schwann, and the others. In our next lecture, we shall be talking about the animal cell. We shall be looking at the organelles that make up the animal cells as well as their function. Please ensure to like, subscribe, and comment. Cheers till we meet in our next lecture.